further on the Nakuda that we've been talking about. Siyat Shmaya Shabbos Parshas Nosoi Tes Sivan Tavshin Lamed Gimel. First, Baruch Bnei Yisrael Amar Lahem. So you shall bench the Bnei Yisrael. Say to them, Barecha Goymer. He should bench you. And throughout the brachas that it enumerates over there, Yasam L'cha Shalom, and he will place for you and give for you peace. The Rebbe says it's known the difference between giving a bracha to someone or versus the idea of davening to something. The Rebbe says an interesting thing. Even though usually we associate Yivarecha Hashem Yishmerecha and so on as being bracha, that's what it is. It's part of the mitzvah Birchas Kohanim. That the Kohanim give a bracha, Yivarecha, and so on. But still, the language of Yivarecha could be interpreted and could be used in a way of a tefillah, of a request, of a davening. He's davening and he's requesting from Hashem that Hashem bench you, he should guard you, etc. Ilukan post, but over here, in this context, it definitely does not that. It's not a way of a request. Rather that we are benching the Bnei Yisrael. In these matters, these are the things that the Yidden are being benched with. The idea of davening is something that is coming from below to above. What does that mean? That davening is something that's from below to above. The one who's davening is standing lower than the level of the thing that's being asked about, that's being requested. Therefore, since I am beneath the thing that's being asked, so I am posing my request and my tefillah to someone that's higher. Please give me this. It's beyond me. That the one who is beyond the person who is davening should fulfill his request. Line 11, in a bracha, as opposed to the idea of a bracha, it's from above to below. That the one who is making the bracha, the one who is benching, it stands beyond the thing that is actually being given. In the matter that he's giving the bracha about, that he's drawing down. And he owns the matter to draw it down. That's why he doesn't say it in a form of a request. He's not requesting and asking, please send us down, but ki im b'lashon tzivui, rather in a way of a command. He's saying what should happen. Ez soll sein in Yiddish, it should be such and such. And it's a promise. Ez vet sein, it will be. On the royim, this reason, because of this distinction between bracha and tefillah, we see an interesting thing. In tefillah, we find shaykh chol echad is applicable to everyone. Afilu ani, even someone that's poor. The Rebbe is playing off of what it says. In a moment, we're going to bring the lashon tefillah la'ani, and ani poor doesn't have to mean necessarily monetarily poor. Ani b'chala inyan, he's poor in all matters, including in spiritual things. He's poor as well, and still in all, like it says, tefillah la'ani. So even if he's spiritually poor, still in all, it says that an ani has a tefillah as well. Tefillah la'ani, the tefillah of someone that is poor, materially, spiritually, etc. Why? Because I am not asking because of who I am and how I am. I am asking because I am beneath it. So if I'm very low, I'm still very low, and I'm looking up towards Hashem, the one that's higher and everything, and I'm asking for it. The Rebbe adds, not only is a poor person, does it apply by him the idea of tefillah, But even more so, line 17, even more so, tefillas on the kedemis, least kabbalah palat tefillas, that the tefillah for one is accepted before and closer to be accepted than all other types of davenings, tefillas ashir, even prior to the tefillah of a rich person. And again, just like he spoke about a poor person, he wasn't just talking about someone that's poor. Materially, he was talking about someone that's poor, also spiritually. Even someone that's rich in spiritual matters, someone that's poor, even in spiritual matters, takes precedence. Like it's brought down in the Chazal that the idea of Tefillah Ani is higher, it says, than Tefillah Moshe, and Moshe is considered an Ashir, both materially and spiritually, and higher than even Tefillah David. The reason for that is because an Ani is someone that davens with a broken heart, and the broken heart is first and foremost accepted by Hashem. So that is tefillah. When it comes to davening, how low I am does not impact the strength of my davening. Even more so, the fact that I'm an Ani might even be a better thing than being an usher. Being low might be better than being high. In line 19, as opposed to Inyan HaBracha, when it comes to the idea of bracha, bracha is something that not everyone has the capability to give a bracha. People go to tzaddikim to give a bracha. Not every person that they go to give a bracha. Because you go to someone who is standing beyond whatever it is that he's giving the bracha about. He's from a higher level, he's on a higher plane, and therefore he could order it around. Now getting back to what our parsha is talking about, in our parsha, but the parsha Nasi, where it speaks about Birchas Kohanim, it says the last two words on the page. Top of page Zion. Therefore, this is applicable only by Kohanim. That Kohanim are able to give a bracha. Tefillah is applicable to everybody, but to be able to give a bracha, you need to be of a certain level that's higher than the thing you're giving the bracha to. That's the Kohanim. You might remember, like it says, Emer Lahem, that Moshe Rabbeinu was told, speak to them, tell the Kohanim to give the bracha. How do I know it's talking about the Kohanim? The Koyal Mashakosov, Libniz Adaper, Lanvel, Bonov, Gomer, it's referring, the words Emer Lahem, you shall say to them, refers to where it says, prior to that, speak to Aaron and to his sons. So we see that Birchas Kohanim is something that's specific to the Kohen. So this is the difference in bracha and tefillah. Bracha is you're above the thing, and therefore only special people can do it. Tefillah, you're below it, therefore everyone can do it. Rebbe poses now a question based on this. Line 3, according to this, we need to understand. Why did they arrange the Birchas Kohanim in davening? Whether it's in the weekday, whether it's in Shabbos for Yom Tov, it's incorporated as part of the davening. We interrupt Shem and Esra, and we call up the Kohanim, and that's what we say. Similarly, there are two separate things, like we just now said. Tefillah is one thing, bracha is a different thing. Maya, Shaykh name, what's the connection between Tefillah and Birchas Kohanim? Because of whatever that connection may be, called the Birchas Kohanim, they established the Birchas Kohanim in the order of Dav. Always based. When it'll be understood by first explaining the difference in bracha and davening in a more detailed manner than what we just now said before. In a Inyan HaBracha, not the idea of bracha is higher than the idea of davening. Like we mentioned before, that the one who's giving the bracha is beyond the matter of which he is giving a bracha. The only affects that the matter he affects, that the matter should come down here below. This means to say, this means as follows. When it comes to bracha, he is above the thing, but the thing exists already. In its root above, it's present. But what do you need to have to help the bracha if it exists already? Still in all like butter at lamata. One is not sure, is it going to come down from its root above, and is it going to make it through the whole Seder Shtalshlos to come down into this material and physical world? It's also not clear in what type of manner it will come down here into this world. And for this, the idea of bracha ensures that both it should make it down here, and it should be in a beneficial and a good way. First of all, the bracha facilitates that it should come down here without any types of delays and obstacles. This is something that we see is the idea behind the bracha of the Kohanim. Birchas Kohanim is about what it says, that speedily his words rush down. So even though there's Hashem's word and command, it could be delayed, get stuck. But the Kohanim ensure that Hashem's words come down quickly. Where do we see that Kohanim is about speed? Like we find by Aaron's staff. Let's get it. Parshas Korach, soon to be read. It speaks over there about those that were challenging the kahuna of Aaron and saying, why is he supposed to be the Kohen Gadol? And Moshe Rabbeinu said that all of them, all the heads of the Shvatim should put out their staffs in front of the oil moed and so to Mata Aaron. And Mata Aaron, they saw, behold, it blossomed. Take me out, and immediately after it blossomed, it came up with these nubs of almond. All of this indicates this is the idea of speed. The speed that instead of it takes X amount of time between the blossom and between the actual fruit to appear, Aaron, it was speed because that indicated that his type of effect is through his bracha, the idea of speed coming down. Line 20, all this it's all in such a manner that the one who's giving the bracha stands above the idea of the bracha, and therefore he can like push it forward and make sure it reaches. Now the Rebbe goes on. Since there's also spiritual brachas, how they move on, so it's understood that the one who is giving the bracha stands even higher than spiritual brachas as well. We find by the bracha of Yitzchak. It says Elikim should give you. And the Chazal said, we had this in the last two Mamarim, what was the gift that Yitzchak was giving to Yaakov? Metal Shamayim, from the dew of the heavens, and Mikra, going on the Torah of the Ksuvim, Mishmane Oretz, a Mishnah, from the paths of the earth, that's going on Mishnayis, Rev Dog Mesirish, much grain and wine, the Talmud Vagoda is going on Gemara, it's going on Agadata, like was explained in the previous Maya. Based on what's brought down the famous continuation of the year Tapre Samaklov, because of the novelty of what Yitzchak gave to Yaakov over what was given by Matan Torah. If since by the giving of the Torah was given, so what was Yitzchak giving Yaakov more so than what he would get by Matan Torah? We explained the Koy Alman the Daik with Milch Masa. Going on one that examines matters of wisdom. In other words, that he toils in Torah. Through the toil of Torah, we reach much higher levels than just what we reach by ordinary learning, which we would have gotten by Matan Torah. Through the toiling in Torah, reach to the level that no eye has seen this except for you, Elohim, meaning the most highest levels, higher than Seder Shtalshlos, we reach specifically through this level of the analysis, of toil and effort, which is the gift that Yitzchak gave to Yaakov. Even prophets in the prophecy did not reach the revelation of this level. Yitzchak affected this matter. Through his bracha, moving it's understood, that he stands in a higher level, even the level that we reach through Torah in depth and toiling, that we reach the level of Elikim that's higher than Seder Shvalshus, because we said that the Mevarech, the one who gives the bracha, must stand higher than the bracha. And when he gives a bracha in the spiritual, that applies also to the spiritual bracha. So when he gave a bracha in the spiritual sense, that through toiling in Torah, one reaches the level of Elikim, the level of the highest level of Elikim, higher than Seder Shtalshlus. So that must mean that Yitzchak, who gave the bracha, was higher even than that level of Elikim, higher than Seder Shtalshlus. The Chalzeh, being in a bracha, all this is applicable only in the idea of bracha. Ain't can be not feel as opposed to davening. You have mispalul, who matter means mispalul of the one who davens is beneath and lower than the thing that he's davening of it. Like I said before, therefore his tefillah is in the way of a request. He's asking, he's requesting, please Hashem, give this to me because I am too low to be able to reach it myself. Just to give a very simple example. I asked someone to reach something on a high shelf because they're taller than me. So why is it? Because I can't reach it. Same thing after daven today. I said, please give this to me. It says, but there's no surety that his request will be fulfilled. By bracha, we said, it's in the way of a tzivui, it's in the way of avtacha, it's a command, it's a promise. We're being assured of it because since the one that's giving the bracha is beyond it, so it's within his purview, it's within his capability to give this to the person that he's giving the bracha to. Us, that we are standing below, we are the ones that are trying to elicit by Hashem the request. So we are asking Hashem. Either Hashem will say yes or he won't say yes. This is not a sure thing. And the Rebbe says, not only is this by someone that we were speaking about before, is a tefillah la'on. He's someone that's poor, either poor materially or even worse, poor spiritually. But even the highest form of daven, even by Moshe, that by him we say it's a level of tefillah Moshe. He's called a tefillah Asher in Chassidus and Kabbalah because his tefillah and Medrash because his tefillah is the tefillah of a rich person and he was rich spiritually, rich materially. Like there's Paul, like Dvar Malchus, when he davened Hashem for forgiving him on the well-known sin, meaning the sin of the Cheta Egel, it was in a way of a request. And to such a degree, you have to say, if you don't forgive them, then erase me. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't even sure. He said, either forgive them, or option B is take me out of the equation. But Yodam, this Mal Bakashal He didn't know if his request would be fulfilled or it would not be. Any question? You, second paragraph, page Yud Ches, line 13. So after speaking about how bracha seems to be greater than davening, the bracha, the person that's giving the bracha is beyond the thing, and it's a sure thing, promises, and commands it, whereas davening was not below it, and I'm not sure it's going to happen, and so on. Still in all, the Rebbe is going to bring out there's an advantage in davening over bracha. Idach on the other hand, yes, my little bit feel like other bracha. There's an advantage of davening over bracha. By davening, we are using the term "let it be the will of Hashem that such and such should occur." What does this mean? Let it be the will. In other words, before I said it, Hashem's will was not to be in whatever I'm trying to ask that it should be. This means to say, it's in the capability of davening to affect a new will by Hashem above. That's what we're asking. Let's change Hashem's will over here. God and in this regard, the davening is greater than bracha. Bracha does not create and affect a new thing. It's only to draw down below. That's the word, meaning of the word bracha. And the word bending over a vine to the ground, etc. Or mavrich is like malim, to make camels lower down. So bracha means taking something that's there and bringing it down. Not creating something, not like by dab. Line 19, something that's already in existence above. That's why it says bracha of Yaakov to his children. And this is what he spoke to them. And then it says an interesting thing. Yaakov Avinu benched them, every person according to his bracha he benched them. What's that extra language? He benched them, and then it enumerates all the different brachas he gave them. What does it say? He benched them according to their bracha. In other words, this means Hainu shebeirach kol shevet bebracha shayeches l'shevet zeh mitzad shorshim mekodechu. Yaakov Avinu did not create something new. He benched every single bracha with the bracha kibirchasai of that shevet. He gave the bracha of that person. He gave it to him. The bracha of Naphtali he gave to Naphtali. The bracha of Reuben he gave to Reuben. The bracha of Yehuda he gave to Yehuda. Meaning, this was Yehuda's bracha even before Yaakov Avinu told him about it. So if so, what do you need to have Yaakov to bench it? It's Yehuda's anyway. It's Reuben's anyway. It's Zvulun's anyway. What do you need Yaakov for? Allah, he says in line 23, Paul Yaakov Shiyum Shlamato. Yaakov Avinu with his bracha took what was like already in Zvulun's account and Reuben's account, but that's in the Shoresh above. And the Shoresh above can either be delayed in coming down or could be not even come down at all. It remain above or remain just in a spiritual sense. Yaakov Avinu with his bracha was able to send it down all the way down here below. Therefore, with this, so this explains the famous question about Yaakov also when he benched his grandchildren. The Ephraim and Menashe. Say you on line 25. This will also be understood. Something that seems to be a wonder concerning Yaakov's bracha to his grandchildren, the children of Yosef, Ephraim and Menashe. That you know that Yosef placed Menashe, who was the B'chor, the firstborn, close to Yaakov in his right hand, showing on a greater energy of bracha. The right always shows a greater energy. He put Ephraim, who was the younger son, next to Yaakov Avinu's left hand. The left shows on a lesser energy. But Yaakov Avinu switched it around. Yaakov Avinu placed his right hand on Ephraim's head and put his left hand, the lesser energy, on Menashe's head. So Yosef was concerned about his sons, told Yaakov Avinu, and he told him, when Yosef told Yaakov that Menashe is the firstborn, therefore you should be putting your right hand not on Ephraim's head, but you should put your right hand on the B'chor's head. He is the B'chor. He should be getting a greater and more powerful brach. On the Yaakov, so Yaakov responded to Yosef, Yadaiti goyim. I'm not, haven't lost my mind. I'm not, I know exactly who's who, and I know Menashe is the older one, and Ephraim the younger one. But his younger brother will be greater than him. Ephraim will come out, meaning Shevet Ephraim will be greater than Shevet Menashe. And therefore, Yaakov said, that is the reason why I placed my right hand on Menashe's head. So here there's the classic question. You're giving the brachas. You're giving the brachas. You can decide to make Menashe greater. You'll give him the bracha and he'll be greater. Put your right hand on Menashe's head. He's the b'chor. Give him the greater bracha. What's it mean that I put my right hand on Ephraim's head because I knew he was going to be greater? Isn't it dependent on Yaakov? It says in line 28, this question, the Lachura, seemingly Hagu, but sort of here, this itself needs an explanation. Yaakov Avinu could have given the bracha that Menashe, who was the firstborn, he would be the greater one, and he would grow, and etc., etc. So why did Yaakov Avinu put his right hand on Ephraim's head? So the answer is like he didn't know the idea behind this is by day habrach through a bracha, one can only draw down something that exists already in the root of the person's source. Like we mentioned before, that Yaakov only gave the bracha according to their bracha. Zvulun, he couldn't give Reuven's bracha. Yehuda, he couldn't give Yisachar's bracha. He could only give each one according to their source. Since in the source, Ephraim, who was the younger son, was higher than Menashe, so the Yaakov couldn't change that. Yaakov could only facilitate what would come down from the source. He couldn't create a new energy for Menashe to be greater than Ephraim. Yaakov could not have benched in a different way. He had no choice but put his right hand on Ephraim's head. So now the Rebbe says, based on this limitation that we just now said about bracha, that bracha can only draw down from its source, and I can't do anything other than what's there in the source, other than facilitate it to come down quicker. It says in line 2 of Be'inyan Zed, God l'mayal tefillah. This regard, the advantage of davening is greater than bracha. Through the idea of davening, we affect a new will that wasn't there before. So even if in the source there's nothing there for it, davening can create it anew. Yehirotz, and let it be the will. Statement is that not only can it create a new will, even when there's above an opposite will of what we want. We can affect through davening a change of will. Like we find concerning Moshe in the above mentioned matter when he was davening for the Yidden by the sin of the ego. After Hashem said, my anger will burn in them and I will destroy them. So here was a will for the opposite of the existence of the Jewish people. What did Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah affect? All the tefillah of Moshe Shini Ratzon L'mayla. So the davening of Moshe Rabbeinu affected a change of will above. That it just in the total opposite. Instead of being destruction Chas v'Shalom of Am Yisrael, it affected the survival and the existence of Klal Yisrael.